absolutely beautiful day today. It got up in probably the low 60s. So we are out on a little hike through the park, and we thought we would take advantage of this nice day and this opportunity to explain some of the thoughts that are in our minds, and also take a bit of time to talk about why we chose the name of our YouTube channel, why we chose Carving a Path for our name. Now, everything that I'm about to say is difficult for me to talk about because it's hard to find words that I can relate to people with. And so we'll do the best we can there. Now, Carving a Path. Okay, so the reason why we chose that name was because before we got to our homestead, we had ended up in a really dramatic situation that was very, very difficult to go through. And we don't talk much about that or what that situation is for a lot of complicated reasons. Main reasons are things like we're not really interested in like wound bonding or self-pity and things like that. That's no way to work through problems or work through dramatic experiences in your life. But we did find ourselves at an all-time low that was very difficult to deal with and very difficult to survive. One of these days we'll talk more about that. But it's a tough world. We're here to tell you about it. So it got really, really tough for us, and we found ourselves at the point of not really even having a desire to preserve life or to do anything to improve your life, because everything was just so complicated and you couldn't solve any problems, and everything was just so difficult for so many countless reasons. And so that was so uncomfortable to deal with, and in that environment we had to make a mechanical plan. We had to think mechanically. We couldn't just use like what was in our bodies, our thoughts, our brain, and we needed to mechanically operate there. And so we needed to carve a path. We needed to choose a direction. We needed to carve a path that was going to lead us away from where we had ended up. And I'm here to tell you, we're here to tell you that when you go through a really dramatic experience, the friends that you think you have, you don't have. And people that you think would never support you, and I don't mean support, but I mean like be there for you, actually will be there for you. And so that's a very eye-opening thing to go through. It changes how you look at the world, and it can create things like all these different fears and hard things to deal with. So that's why some of those things are why we chose the term carving a path, because we needed to choose a conscious direction that was going to take us in the direction of good habits and away from bad habits. Not like we had any bad habits. We weren't doing drugs, or we wasn't thieves or liars or alcoholics. None of that was a thing. None of that was a thing. It was just, it's a complicated sequence of events that's difficult to explain. But so anyway, so that's why we chose the term carving a path, because we needed to get away from that, and we needed to make sure that we were in that direction, carving a path in the positive direction. So on that note, we're going to use that as an intro to our future plans, because we need to still continue to carve that path. We need to make accomplishments and do things that reprove to ourselves that we are capable of making decisions and also doing and making accomplishments. Okay, moving forward, hope that made some sense, but moving forward, we took my daughter back east about 3 weeks ago, and that was a difficult thing to do. A father saying goodbye, to his kids, not forever, but for months at a time, is very difficult. And a lot of you guys will understand what I'm talking about. It's a very difficult thing to do. But in doing that, it just brought up all this old stuff and all these old memories and all these old thoughts, and and it makes you realize when you do that how little amount of those things that you have worked through in life. And that's the concept of unresolved trauma. And so as you proceed through life, it's good to understand and integrate and learn and have this information pass through you and gain the experience, and you proceed through life. But it's bad to store that information and to not work through it, and to have things like anger and even other things like hatred and depression. Those are very complicated psychological elements that are related. And blame, those are terrible things to have. And long story short, or trying to make a very, very long story shorter. We don't want to develop any of those things, and we need to work through those things. And so we were entertaining the concept or the thought of possibly in the spring getting out on the Appalachian Trail for a little bit and hiking for a minute. And in no way, shape, or form are we saying we're going to do that. But
we're thinking about it.
Yeah, we're thinking about it. And so we're financially nowhere near able to do that. We have absolutely no gear. We also have no experience in that. We've taken a lot of day hikes and stuff, but we've never done any through hikes or any long distance hikes like that at all. We're fairly active and fairly fit, and we're pretty fast learners. But that's a major thing to take on. And so that's kind of what we're thinking about. And every little topic that we touched is much more broad and filled with a lot more complications than we were actually able to relay in this short period of time. But we just thought we'd take a minute and kind of go through that and show you guys a few scenes of what the Buffalo River looks like right here where we live. And we're going to make a fire here and get some food. So yeah, that's pretty much all we have to say about that. Anyways, okay, we're gonna cook some food, and I hope that made some sense to you. Okay, so we're losing daylight here, so we're trying to get some visibility with this headlight. So we wanted to take this moment to clarify that we don't, in the footage you saw earlier of us walking around with big backpacks on, we just wanted to say that we don't actually carry big backpacks when we're out on a day hike, because that's totally unnecessary. But we were test driving those two backpacks to work out some of the issues and just to kind of get a feel for them. Because we're entertaining the thought of possibly spending some time on the Appalachian Trail. So that's what we were doing there. We also wanted to clarify,
we do not cook on flames. We cook on coals, but we didn't want to make a big fire and then have to wait for it to die out, so we cooked on the flames. Yeah,
we wanted to make sure that we didn't make a big rager and then there still be coals when we leave, so we wanted to have plenty of time for it to burn down so it was safe when we left. We wanted to also take a minute to kind of explain some of our thoughts to help you guys understand decisions and why we make the decisions that we make, and to kind of help you guys follow along with our thought process. because every time we make a video, we kind of have this feeling of, did that make any sense? Is anybody even following this? And it's sort of like the next chapter sort of responsibility, I guess we have, you know. And so we thought this would help you guys kind of understand why we think the way we do. Anyways, we have about 6 miles to go before we get home. We got another proper river crossing.
And it's about 35 degrees.
Yeah, so that is going to be a bit chilly. We're not sleeping out tonight. We're going to go, but we'll be back home in a little bit. So yeah, I guess we're going to go ahead and start making some tracks. So we'll see you guys along the way.
The smoke in the air couldn't hide my shame. Saw it lit up on that silver screen. And that full-bellied moon just shining on me. Yeah, she pulls on this heart like she pulls.
All right, so this is our last river crossing. It's about 60 feet wide and about foot and a half deep. And the air temperature is probably about 35 degrees, so it's really cold out. So let's do this.
Oh boy, that is proper cold. Okay, so yeah, we got a little bit misled there as we were coming through the woods. We crossed at a different point than we normally cross. We normally cross upstream just a few hundred yards, but we thought this time this is where the BRT, the Buffalo River Trail, actually crosses the river. So we thought, well, they probably have it in the most, you know, whatever, convenient place.
Nope.
That is actually not true. So we should have followed our instinct. Cross where we always do.
Mm-hmm.
But so we crossed here instead, and it was a little deeper than a foot and a half. That was probably like 3 feet. It was up to our waist.
Yeah, our whole legs were under.
But we've got dry clothes in our packs, so we're all dry.
In our
everything
giant
is good.
packs.
Yeah, in our giant packs we brought. So we're all good and dry, and we're gonna go ahead and start walking for the house now. We only got about 1.5 miles to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And that full-bellied moon, she's a shining on me. Yeah, she pulls on this heart like she pulls on the sea. Yeah, she's shining on me. Those broken-hearted lovers, they got nothing on me.
Okay, so that was a nice little full moon hike coming back on that last leg. There's no way that we would ever be able to capture anything like that on our camera, so you guys are just going to have to take our word for it. Yeah, it was all good. Nice day. Everything except for that last river crossing was a bit cold, but that was pretty fun too, I guess. But it's nice to be back in a warm house by that nice wood stove over there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed watching, and we'll see you next time.